Hello and welcome. Rahul, you're watching me on my YouTube channel of my talks, and if you're watching me consistently, welcome back to my channel. See, whenever I come in front of you, I have a purpose. I want to instill positivity and talk something valuable because I know in this mad scramble where we live in, we have conditioned our world in monetary values and financial abundance. And if you have excellencies, you can pull off. Otherwise, you will have to go through mediocrity. Everyone's reality is the same. That's why we should not waste our time in futile reels scrolling up and down. Rather, we should invest our time in something valuable where we can be useful for our society, for our own self, for our own family. And if you'll be able to hone your skills, if you'll be able to scale it up, you can do miracle. That is what we want. We want excellencies and we want extraordinary ability. And because it is essential, this kind of essentiality could propel you forward, because if you have creativity, if you have excellencies, you can do miracle in your life. Otherwise, many people, they don't have confidence still that they can pull off something special. They lack confidence, they lack you know dimensions and directions in their life, and they stray here and there. They won't be able to usefully deploy their excellencies, and that is why all the faculties are not able to guide them in perfect way. But if you will be watching videos that we develop, that we make, this kind of videos will develop you forward, will make you someone who can have excellencies and can hone their skills, and knowledge base will grow, and that is what will propel you forward. You will be having multitude of opportunity if you have extraordinary skills. So invest your time in something valuable. That is what I would like to tell you. And political realms, I don't want to talk about that, but whatever happens, it happens for good. We have to believe in, and then only we can walk and embark on a journey where the future will unfold in our favor. We want here a beautiful life. What could be better than that? And if you want to guide yourself forward, your moral virtues, will certainly give you right path. Will certainly be able to foster the reality. Stir up exactly if you really want to stir up in people, you know, and want to stimulate them, because you have to motivate them in order to pull off something big. You have to motivate them and you have to guide them. You are getting my intentions, what I'm trying to say you, because it is good in a democratic world that everything happens for people and everything should be guided by the collective mentality, for betterment of the people. But I am the person who always say that if few people are intellectual, and very intelligent, and 90% are not able to get the education exactly they should get, then these 10% should guide them exactly in perfect way, not in by biased way, rather unbiased, with a welfare mentality. Then only the whole world will grow. And it is the responsibility of the government that they should educate their people. They should try to bring rationality, and better cognitive ability, in their world, in their democratic world where they are governing. It is responsibility of such government who is being chosen by the people. It is for the people, by the people. That is what we know. So it is essential that we move forward with right intentions and right clarity. It is important, because manipulation is everywhere. Many people, for personal benefit, they will be able to manipulate you. Even I will talk you the devil, which has its intentions. He is very clever. He is not something that you would think of, that our mythology portray that. No, it's not such kind of, Rakshasa and such kind of things do not exist. But the matrix, the field exists. That is what I always say. Field exists, and field has intelligence. And if you really want to understand all these intelligence, why it is working against, why it is trying to trap you, in such a physical dimensions where you don't grow. So reality, you have to know, you have to embark on a journey where you will be able to discern exactly what is lying there, what is lying in rationality, what is lying in cognitive ability, that always say what is open, what is true, what is pragmatic in the world, real pragmatic things in the world. That is what you have to discover. And once you walk that path, you will see that all the forces around which is trying to manipulate, which is trying to create a narrative, they all will come to stop you. That is enough. Only one single thing, that you walk on the rational path, which your mind says, and your virtues guide. It is enough to dismantle the world of all illusions and illusionary gods who try to stop you. So you have to fight with them. You have to prove your worth. You have to walk through. Sometimes you have to tolerate. Sometimes you have to go back. Again come forward. That is what is the reality, because forces trying to save the reality. And until and unless you don't have power, how can you face these forces? Because if you really want to stand, you should have experience, you should have guts, you should have forces and fields in your favor. Then only you can counter them. Otherwise, they will be enough to dismantle you. And that is what happened in my life. I have been through those stages where I had no guard, and I straight walked that path that broke me up. And later on, I mustered the gut, and I assimilated exactly the knowledge that paved the way, the rational knowledge that paved the way towards eternity. If I will say eternity, because if you really want to guide yourself, you'll be able to be aware of the field, of the agents that are working in the field, the field intentions, and what are your wisdom, what are your virtues, how it stands, how it guides. That doesn't mean the arrogance should develop, arrogance should prevail. No, but it doesn't mean even that you compromise your own ego. If you compromise your own ego totally, you won't be able to walk the path. You will be demotivated. So for your own benefit, for your own welfare, you have to stand. You have to take a side, and then you have to understand exactly how to counter these forces in order to develop your own self and foster the path that you want to foster for most of the people, who are trying to align their perspective with the light. And that is why we are trying to foster that kind of mentality, because collective consciousness, if you really want to foster such kind of force which can wake up all the entities, this is not possible. It will break the entire equilibrium, because it is not enough. If you will dismantle everything, everywhere will be chaos. So you have to understand exactly how do you want to take all those intellectual people with your own self, so that they can be guided and they can foster a fort, that would be better. And that is why many dimensions and many things are sealed. Until unless you don't resonate in that very frequency, you don't tackle those forces, you won't be able to wake up that force. That is what happens in ethereal realm. But we live in 21st century, where many of the organizations, they have developed their own skills, their own technologies, and they know exactly all this about frequency. So they're also playing a role in between that very field. So we have to understand exactly how to guide yourself. If you are an individual, how you have to take yourself forward, and the agents behind, not constructive agents, but the rebellions, the dark agents, how the matrix agents, how they come forward and they try to take you down. It may happen if you really want to evolve. So it is your responsibility how you go through and how you take all those institutions in your confidence, because you have to take. Because if you really want to stand and do something positive, they also have to recognize exactly at what are your intentions, what you want to foster. And if you will reflect your intention positively, they will certainly pave the way for you forward. But you have to be aware, because if you really don't have that kind of cognitive and rational power, you won't be able to stand in their way. That is why you have to make yourself more and more astute personality, the excellencies that you want to foster, erudite personality. Each and every time you have to keep yourself one step ahead. Then only you can fight with all these matrix agents, because they are always craving. They are like goons, and they are like foxes that always have an eye on you. And that is what you have to discern. When you will discern all this reality, when you will walk forward with positive intentions, you will certainly be able to foster the reality towards eternity. I would not say that it only reflects in certain intellectual realm in the physical world, because it is connected to metaphysical world, and metaphysical world connects each and every realms, from eons, whatever is coming, all the wars that are being waged in the spiritual realm. Everywhere you become a part of that very movie or that very reality, and then you understand exactly how to foster your own reality and how to gain the knowledge, how to gain everything that is residing in between frequencies. And frequencies are not even open. It has been sealed, and it has been being taken care of by many institutions. So it is not easier to pave the way towards that very thing. But once you'll have intellectuality, once you'll be awakened, once you'll have knowledge, you will understand everything whatever is unfolding around you, and you will have patience, you will have empathy, you will have compassion for others, and that compassion will guide you forward. That is what we want. We won't be able to give up already to all those negative wounds and matrices agent, because they are not competent enough. Though matrix is helping them in many ways, and that is why they seem they are talented, but they are not talented. They don't have any kind of light that can guide them. They are blindly following such set of rules in order to find better positions. That is what they think of. But the reality is that if you have your own light, you are already positioned, you are already been bestowed by the universe the reality that you want to possess. Thank you for listening to me.